Good evening, my friends. This is Krebs here, and today we're going to be doing a Company of Heroes 2 replay. The first replay of Company of Heroes 2 on this channel. Man, that is exciting stuff, because I just don't know what to do. I feel like the first episode for Company of Heroes 2 of a replay should have like explosions and fireworks, and I don't know if I'm going to live up to the anticipation for you guys, but you know what? We've got an exciting game, so I think we'll live up to that anticipation. So, how should we start this? Well, since this is going to be effectively the start of a new series on this channel, I thought we'd start off with some formal, informal, casual introductions to me, the host, because you're going to be listening to my voice for a long time, and let's get started here. Right, so my name is Bernard. A lot of you would probably know me for a long time now if you've been watching my Company of Heroes videos. I've been doing Company of Heroes for about 2 or so years, and it's the reason why I actually started up this channel. I do a multitude of games now, but I've been playing Company of Heroes for about 6 years, and I'm a big fan of the series. I absolutely love the game. I think it's probably the best game out there of all time. It's probably my most favorite game of all time, just because I think out of all the RTSs out there, I think it's sort of, you can firmly say that a lot of them are quite outdated nowadays, and Company of Heroes brings this dynamic that a lot of them just don't have. It fulfills and satisfies a lot of cravings that RTSs have made me want, and that's why I love it so much. That's why I've been sticking around with it for so long. Apart from that, you might think that I'm American, and no, I'm not American. I'm actually a Polish person. I'm Polish. Both of my parents are Polish, but I was born in New Zealand. I lived in Australia, Canada, America, and now I live in Scotland, so in the UK, and I study pharmacy. I'm turning 22 in literally 2 days' time, so the 23rd of April. My gosh, that's crazy to think that I'm going to be turning so old so soon. But yes, I'm turning 22 very, very soon. I'm studying pharmacy up in Scotland, and graduating very, very soon. In fact, this is one of the exciting news I want to tell you guys, but I actually got a job offer today down in England to do my pre-registration. So, you know, it's kind of strange how life is changing so fast in the next few months. But yes, I'm very, very excited to be able to get that job down south. It means, you know, I'm going to be having to move away from Scotland and just grow up. I'm looking forward to it, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. Apart from that, we've also gotten 20,000 subscribers literally just yesterday. That is another amazing feat. I have no idea what to do for 20,000 subscribers. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna do anything for 20,000 subscribers. I think maybe this video is good enough. We're starting a brand new series here, guys. Come on, be happy. But yeah, geez, there's so much that's going on. Apart from that, I think that nicely sort of summarizes me. You get a general impression of where I'm from, what sort of knowledge base I have behind me. I'm a motivated individual, and I want to entertain you guys along with educating you of the intricacies of this game. Alright, so I guess we get started. So what do you have on offer for us today, Krebs, since we have so much expectations? This is going to be a 1v1 on the Shout. No, it's not actually the Sheld, but it plays like the Sheld. You co-lovers, you original co-lovers are going to understand that joke. But for the newbies, the new ones to Company of Heroes 2, you're going to be wondering, what the hell is this Sheld? It's a map in Company of Heroes, the original one. And this map feels a lot like it because how you have these choke points and flooded areas, basically restricting movement, and because of that it turns the map into a little bit of a camperish style play style, and effectively what you have later on is in the game is you'll have artillery spams and places being blockaded off, and yeah, it generally just feels like the Sheld, but it's actually Pripyat River. We're going to be featuring an Axis versus USSR. I don't know why I'm saying that, because those are the only two factions in the game. Perhaps it's because I'm so used to saying the different factions in Company of Heroes. You got 4 of them in Company of Heroes 1. So we're going to be looking at Delta as the Axis, and we've also got Artistics 18 as the USSR. Fantastic stuff. We're at the 5-second mark, and we're going to be getting started in 3 seconds. So in 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and on we go to another very exciting matchup in the, or well, really, the first exciting matchup in the Company of Heroes 2 Battlefield. Oh my gosh, expectations. In the last episode, guys, it was a gameplay that I was doing. In the last episode, I was saying to you, send in your replays. I want to cast some good replays because I've been having trouble finding any good ones. And you guys have been sending them in troves. If you like to get an analogy, think of Atlas. Atlas is the guy that holds the earth on his shoulders. Imagine Krebs and all the replays you guys have been sending me. That is like me. At the moment, all those replays on my shoulders is making me just hunch over. I'm effectively a hunchback now. But honestly, thank you for sending me all the replays. I enjoy how you guys are enjoying the game and you want to show off your great gameplay to other people. So thank you. This is the first one that we've gotten to actually get around to casting. Alright, so Pioneer Squads over here have built their infantry company as the first building, and now they're going to be capping along this side. And look at what they've actually got happening. One of their first units is a Grenadier Squad, but rather one of the first things that they're doing is they're actually securing down this point over here. Wow, that's kind of surprising. They're actually building a fuel cache on top of it. And that's interesting indeed, because a lot of times people won't actually do that right from the get-go, but the whole understanding and reasoning behind it is because if you do that straight away, then you can maximize the amount of fuel that you're going to be getting from it. So he put an extra fuel cache on top of it, giving initially an extra +3 fuel income per minute, as you can see over here, which is kind of nominal. It's not that much if you think about it, but in the long term it could mean a lot of stuff, a lot of fuel. So say for example, if your game lasts 20 minutes or 30 minutes, say 30 minutes is a standard game time, that's 90 fuel from a single point. That is actually quite a bit. That's like as much as a heavy tank almost, right? It's 200 manpower, so that's a toll that's going to take out of your initial build orders. So that 200 manpower could be preventing you getting an extra Grenadier on the field. Grenadier Squad is what, 240 or so manpower to call out on the field. So losing that 200 could actually prevent you from having as much infantry on the field in the beginning as you'd maybe like to, and that might push you back. So what the USSR have been doing, they actually got out a variety of units initially, and they've spread out right on across the map, up north into the middle, and also across the river. So very aggressive style of play at the moment. 4 squads in total for the Axis. Artistics has 4 as well. You'd sort of expect that he might have more out in the field, but surprisingly they don't. Now, don't hold me to this, I'm still learning the game myself, I can't know everything, but I believe the conscript squads cost 270 manpower to call out, and same with the engineer squads, I believe so, at least that's from what I remember. Maybe I'm just speaking absolute rubbish, do correct me. I'd like to take constructive criticism, so do tell me in the description box below. Leave me any comments if I do say anything wrong, and you want Krebsy to take a note of it. The USSR already have Molotov cocktails upgraded on them. Initially, the conscripts don't get any upgrades or any abilities on them to use unless they upgrade them. And that's actually something that they did do. They got the Molotovs out, and you saw how one was thrown across the log over here. Conscript squad going down on the retreat, unfortunately. That's quite a big loss. And so, I suppose what you could say is that the manpower spent on that resource point has now sort of equalized itself out because that conscript squad went down. So good start so far for the Axis here. Mortar coming down right on top of this conscript squad who's taking cover. Man, what a surprise indeed. You go behind a log thinking, we're going to be fine behind here, and wow, shells raining down from the heavens. So the Axis have supported their Grenadiers with also an additional Mortar Squad over here. One of the nice things about having the Axis in Company of Heroes 2 is from their initial building, the infantry company over here, you can actually get a variety of units out from it that you couldn't in the first Company of Heroes. So in the first Company of Heroes, you had to get a tier 2 Krieg barracks to actually get a mortar squad out, whereas here, right from the get-go, from your first building, you can get an MG42, mortar, grenadier, and also sniper. Notice how there's no motorbike. No motorbike! Sad times. The motorbike was such a beloved vehicle of the first Company of Heroes, and same with the Schwimmwagen, but unfortunately they're not in this Company of Heroes 2 game. But now we've got the Mortar Squad, and that has been so far so very effective on the battlefield. The USSR, let's go ahead on over to them. They've got a variety of infantry as well, including their own Mortar Squad. What you'll notice with the USSR is they can actually get conscript squads from their first HQ over here. So engineers and conscript squads, they don't actually have to get down a tier 1 building before they can start getting some infantry to use. But what they've actually done is, because they're the USSR, they don't have to actually... man, there's so much stuff to explain here. The Axis, they have tiers. Just like in Company of Heroes 1, they have to upgrade from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3 before they can actually build their corresponding buildings. Whereas the USSR are similar to the Americans in Company of Heroes. They have to build certain buildings before they can unlock the next building. And so at the initial get-go, the Allies have the ability to build either a Special Rifle Command, I have to look at some of these names because I'm not going to know them just yet, and Support Weapon Compania. They have the choice between those two initially. Why do they call it the Support Weapon Compania? Is that supposed to be like a mixture between English and Russian words? Come on, you'd think that they would at least like just keep it generalized and uniform. So just call it the Support Weapon Company. I mean, what's the point of mixing it up? Well, whatever. So they have the choice between those two buildings, and as you can see, they have the ability to build MGs, mortars, and also the AT gun from it, which they're actually doing right now at the moment. So it's a good thing that both factions have mortars that can counter each other, not like in Company of Heroes. You had to, the Wehrmacht had to wait before they can actually get mortars from tier 2. For Company of Heroes 2, now you have mortar squads available right from the get-go, essentially, for every faction. So they can counter each other. Are there pros and cons for each squad? Well, you can say that the Germans have less men than the 6 in a Russian mortar. Does that mean that the Russian mortars are better? Well, it means I have more men in them, so they can be out on the field longer. But generally speaking, you would assume then that the German men, the individual men, because there's less in the squad, would be more hardier. Now, is one mortar more superior than the other? As in, is the German mortar going to have a longer range? Is it going to have a faster reload time? I have no freaking idea. We don't have those specifics available to ourselves. Maybe people could do some sort of, I don't know, comparisons if they went to the skirmish matches, but this is stuff that we're gonna learn over time. It's gonna take a while, guys, okay? It's gonna take a while before all these little specific nitty-gritty details come about into play. One annoying feature is right here. Munitions cache put down on top of this point, but there's no automatic fire from the Russian engineers on top of this point. They actually have to selectively fire at it before they can actually start damaging it. So, you know, annoying indeed. They should probably fix that so it automatically fires on it, but okay, whatever. For the USSR, we've also got the Tankovi Battalion Command, Tank Battalion Command, so much easier, being built. So because the USSR had their first tier building out, then they were able to effectively unlock this one. And so you can see that they get the ability to get the M5 half-track, the T-70M light tank, the T-34, and also some special command tanks, depending on what doctrine they go for. Which they've actually gone for the... wow, I can't even remember the name. I know it's like Frontline Tactics or something like that. Shock Troop Frontline Tactics? Am I getting that right? Man, Krebs' memory is really kicking into play now. If I can remember that. It allows them to get shock troops from the Special Rifle Command, so they don't actually have that down at the moment, so kind of negated. They have the anti-tank gun ambush tactics. Let's do a panoramic view so we can actually see what's happening here. Whilst Krebs is talking, we don't miss out on the action. Which allows the AT guns to effectively camouflage, almost like the camouflage ability on the AT guns of the Axis in Company of Heroes. You've also got the incendiary artillery barrage, which is good at taking on infantry. My initial opinions or impressions is that it doesn't really do damage. It doesn't have alpha damage, initial alpha damage. So as soon as the shells come down, they don't do any damage to infantry. At least from what I noticed. Okay, but they have a burning effect over time. They don't even touch. They don't even touch vehicles at all. There's also the KV-8 flamethrower tank. Oh my god, all this stuff dying. Holy Jesus, massacre! Wow. The nice thing about the AT guns for the USSR is that they have a ability on them which they can also become almost like an artillery piece. And for a munitions cost, I don't remember how much it costs, they can use this light artillery barrage that was, as you guys can see, so devastating. Oh my gosh, what the heck happened to that guy? He just did like a jumping jack there and fell over. I have no idea what that was. But we've got... I thought that guy was doing the crab or something in there. 234 out in the field. What else do we have? So we have the KV-8, which replaces the 75mm, 76mm main gun with the 40mm, I think? Something like that. Or 48mm. And also a flamethrower attached to it as well. So going to be good at taking on light tanks and also infantry. We've also got the IS-2 available, which is a beast. It's an epic beast. That's all I can say. Maybe we'll be able to see that. Who knows? Apart from that, the USSR have a good hold on the field. The Axis moving down along the southern side, trying to recapture the points that they had. So overall around the field, we've also got the USSR, who's been building these caches on top of their resource points. Definitely a good thing to be doing. If you got a lot of manpower sitting about, which no doubt you will actually have, a lot of times I notice when I'm playing this game, I'll have a lot more manpower than I have available, say, fuel. And so if you don't want to build extra squads because you don't need them, then you might as well just be using it on building these resource points. And so that's what we've got for both sides at the moment, doing that. Bunker placed down on the front line over here by the Axis, and they've also got the healing gentlemen, not the healing ladies. As we were saying in the last episode, the USSR have healing ladies, which are obviously so much more comforting to the men on the front line, but the Germans have men, healing gentlemen, to help the wounded and just generally heal them on up. That's the sort of funny thing about the Germans now in Company of Heroes 2. When you have the bunker, it doesn't do like everything. You don't get the healing capabilities. You don't get the zombie squads. You don't get the reinforcement point, depending what you do. You know, that sort of stuff. As you purchase whatever you need, and it has to be that individual thing. So whether that be reinforcing, whether that be an MG bunker, whether that be healing nearby, you pay for it. It's your choice. You have to decide, but you can't get everything all at the same time. So USSR moving down along the southern side. We've got tanks out over here. What do the Axis have to counter it? Well, they've got AT guns, but it's all centralized over here in the middle of the map at the moment. Some action going on along the northern side. The USSR just trying to hold off the Axis from actually capturing their points. Axis moving on in. Look at that. The mortars nearby. Artillery barrage is coming on down. Oh, Axis! You're gonna lose your guys here! Being torn to shreds. Absolutely torn to pieces. Yeah, if there's something they haven't changed from Company of Heroes, it's generally speaking how guys get torn to pieces. Oh man. Wow. I'd definitely say that the USSR have an upper hand, if anything. They're capturing down along the southern side, middle, is looking pretty damn decent for them. And Panzerschrecks. Alright, Panzerschrecks. Is this a good counter to everything? Well, I mean, it's it's heavy AT. It's dedicated against taking on tanks. And there you go. Those 2 Shrek shots damaging the engine, as you can see over here. Engine damage, slowing it down. And doing pretty decent damage to its health. Still though, 4 shots. And it's almost dead. It takes 5 shots? Wow. A lot of times, like in Company of Heroes, in the original one, if you're taking it on like a medium tank in Company of Heroes, 5 shots? I don't think it would take that many. But anyway, T-34 going down in a ball of flames. And the Grenadiers running away to fight another day. Probably going to get them reinforced, obviously. So, losses for the USSR. But still, they're persevering, pushing down south. They've got a T-34 over here, which is harassing another T-70 light tank. This thing is brilliant, in my opinion. I actually love it. It's so effective at taking on light vehicles and also infantry, as you can see. Fast speed capabilities, very agile, and just generally good at dishing out damage. Look at that. Panzerfaust coming out for the Grenadiers. Panzerfaust is unlocked at Tier 2 after the Tier 2 upgrade has been achieved for the Axis, so just like Company of Heroes 1. And so they've just harassed this T-70 a little bit, damaged the engine, chased it on back. They're still running on up forward. They want to do something, but it's nothing's going to happen because this T-70, it's reversing, gaining distance, and it can do a lot of damage at the same time. So it looks like what the USSR are doing is that they're transitioning into a heavy tank strategy. They've got a variety of tanks out on the field, these T-34s over here. They just unlock the ability to get the KV-8 if they actually wish to do so. And they can actually build it from the Tankovi battalion over here. So the Tier 3 building for the USSR. They can get it if they want to. Nice to see the KV-8. I'm sort of wondering though, what happened to the KV-1? You know, like the actual other KVs, the main KV tanks. Why didn't they put those in the game? You'd think that such a major tank in history would have a presence in the game, but okay, fair dues. Molotovs coming down. Molotovs. This is the thing about Molotovs. In Company of Heroes, you could throw grenades, and generally they would do a lot of damage. But people could dodge them, but still there's splash damage on them. Molotovs, they usually do a lot of damage from a burn effect over time. It's easy to dodge them, but at the same time, you know, it's a burn effect. You have to use it on targets that are stationary, so MGs, people in buildings, stuff like that. If your opponent has micro, they can easily just get out of the area, right? So Molotov wasted. I do like how you can't actually see like a timer on the Molotov, so your micro has to be really good. Whereas some other grenades, like bundled grenades, you can actually see the timer, and it's more apparent then. Suicidal Pioneers, because why not? Just because. And the Axis totally encompassed at the moment. Wow, totally encompassed. Let's go over to them and see what they're up to, maybe. They've gone for the... Oh, dear. Here comes Krebs' memory again. Jaeger... Infantry... Tactics? I think so anyway. They get a variety of abilities from that, including ambush, camouflage. So their Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers, HMGs can get camouflage whilst they're in snow or in cover, which is very good. Look at that. It also gives first strike bonus, just like packs, like AT guns, they get a first strike bonus, which increases their damage. They also get Ver 43s, which can be upgraded on their fighting infantry, so you know, the Grenadiers, the Panzer Grenadiers, and I think possibly Pioneers as well. Got tactical movement, so when this is activated, all your infantry sprint apart from your AT guns. You've got light artillery barrage, and also the Stuka over here, which is good at taking on vehicles, I believe. I mean, it's got 37mm cannons, which are quite heavy, and it patrols around an area, so I'd imagine it will take on vehicles. Alright, cool stuff. So here we go, USSR moving in. We can still see this encircling effect. The points dwindling down for the Axis, 165, as you can see, and the Axis still moving on up. They obviously recognize that their VPs are being ticked on down, so they're heading on up here with some squads. No idea why two have to go on one area, maybe just as a defense, maybe. But what's a little bit shocking is that they've lost their territory down south. Come on! This is the Shelt Pripyat River. You should try to maintain your side of the river no matter what. You would think so anyway. But overall, I think you can get the general impression of why this map is a little bit stagnant, isn't it? Man, Company of Heroes 2 really does take a toll on your graphics card. I can hear my fan going so wildly, and I can even feel the heat being produced. I've got freaking windows open. I can even feel the heat. It literally, Company of Heroes 2 has such a toll on your graphics card that it turns your room into a sauna, and I actually feel like I'm in a sauna at the moment because it's so hot. We've got a flank coming in from the USSR at the moment, just decimating the frontal line of the Axis here. And I don't even know how the Axis are going to respond to this. They need their own vehicles, and unfortunately they don't really have that. They've got Tier 1, they moved on up to... Or sorry, yeah, they got Tier 1 and then they moved to Tier 2, and they haven't even moved up to Tier 3, which, I mean, look at how much fuel you have, man. You've got loads of fuel. It's almost a necessity that you have to go for something fuel-based, so a vehicle. It's not like Company of Heroes where you can actually win by going for pure infantry strategies. I mean, there's plenty of times I've seen people go for Rangers and Airborne and Paratroopers in Company of Heroes and actually win a game, and they don't even need tanks. But unfortunately, it doesn't really seem like there's actually any doctrines at the moment that could rely on just pure infantry and just win. Doesn't really seem like... Maybe I can't actually remember, but I don't know. Not that I know of. But yeah, overall you could say that it's almost like a requirement that you have to get tanks for success later on in this game, especially when your opponent has so many T-34s and the KV-8. T-34 can be a bit of a nuisance sometimes because it has a ram ability, so it can knock out your treads, sometimes your gun, more so your treads in this recent patch. And the Axis still harassing right on around the field. Look at that! They wanted to cap this point, but they couldn't do it because they don't automatically fire on the Kresh. Or the cache, sorry. Kresh, why am I saying that? This cache over here. But they're attacking it now. Obviously clicking on it, obviously realized, oh, we're not doing anything. We need to do something now. Okay. T-34. Yeah, I'd expect some more tanks. They definitely need to go up to Tier 3. And they should actually have a Tier 3 by now, because at least at Tier 3, you can actually get a Panzer IV or a Stug. And that would be great to counter some of this stuff that's out in the field right now. Definitely essential, in my opinion. These packs aren't going to be enough, because as we can see, there was like barrages, artillery barrages coming out from the AT gun of the USSR. So it's like, oh, we have something stationary, our own AT gun, and then all of a sudden it gets countered by an artillery barrage from the AT gun of the enemy. But generally speaking, it's 129 VPs for the Axis, 456 for the USSR. USSR has a huge lead in terms of VPs and also territory as well. Still, Axis very much depending on their Panzerschrecks to make a difference here. You could destroy one T-34, but you can't destroy another one. What is that saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So definitely learn the lesson. If you learn the T-30, if you lost another T-34 from a spam of Panzerschrecks, then yeah, shame on him. Shame on USSR for losing another one. But they haven't, so That's okay. We've got a frontal line heading down along the southern side, harassing like crazy. Again, having to target this point because it doesn't do that. They should change that, IMO, in my opinion. Northern sectors, territories being recaptured by the USSR, having previously been decapped. KV-8 over here looks like an absolute beast, if you ask me. Look at that. So thick looking, isn't it? And there we go. Having some effect, killing what looks to be some stuff. But okay, here we go. A counterattack by the Axis down along the southern side. Vet 2 being reached by the Panzer Grenadiers. T-34 going down. AT gun getting that kill, it looked like. Nice thing about veterancy in this game, it's almost like the British lieutenant veterancy. Some people have actually been asking me, what is the veterancy like? It's like the lieutenant veterancy in Company of Heroes. Reason being, lieutenant, because you unlock certain abilities and effectiveness as you vet up from veterancy that is shared right on amongst the area. You can do so much different stuff and get veterancy. Literally, you could crush objects and gain veterancy. I've actually had times where I crushed a tree and then all of a sudden I gained veterancy. I guess those things count, generally speaking. Okay, so AT gun over here, not going down. There's so many men. Grenadiers are just like, come on, we can finish them off. But then there's so many to try to finish off. Will they be finished off on the retreat? Yeah, look at that. Flames killing infantry on the retreat. Wow, my eyes deceive me. Because in original Company of Heroes, no way in hell would flames kill something on retreat. It just doesn't happen. But wow, it actually did happen. My eyes. My mind is blowing. So the last dwindling moments of this match coming on up. Yeah, I watched the replay. I guess I must have watched it wrong, but I thought generally it was exciting when I was watching it. I didn't think it would be this one-sided, but oh well. I'll try to repair, get that fixed or done better, improved for the next cast to make it more like a tug-of-war going from different sides. Uh-oh, AT landing right on top of the bridge. Wow. Not actually destroying that bridge, luckily for the Grenadiers. Because imagine if they finished off the bridge. It's taking damage slowly, you can tell by the holes. Imagine if they finished off the bridge just as they were on there. They'd be dead. But it doesn't do that much damage, look at that. Maybe you need some proper artillery to actually damage that bridge and finish it off. But anyway, another KV-8 is out on the field. We've got 2 total KV-8s. VPs, again, still dwindling down for the Axis here. There we go. KV-8 retreating. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like they can afford another Panzerfaust. They had a Grenadier squad right nearby, and they could have gotten a Panzerfaust out, but no munitions to do it. I can't remember how much it was. It was like 35 munitions or something to use a Panzerfaust. So it's quite expensive, right? Oh, they want to, but they can't. Look at that! They gain veterancy by their comrades dying. You gain veterancy for literally breathing in this game. Okay. For just looking at your opponent, you gain veterancy. AT guns moving on up. They want to finish off this T-34. There we go. Big side shot, what looked to be. And that's going to be this T-34 going down. Yeah, I imagine so. No idea what this pack over here is doing. What? Look at that! You'd think that the AT gun would be able to shoot at the T-34. But I have a feeling what's happening here is we've got a smoke canister round coming down from, I believe, the Mortar Squad over here. Yeah, it was. And did that actually block the line of sight for the AT gun? I think that might actually have happened. So maybe it doesn't only depend on you having your other infantry having that sight, or other units having that sight. Maybe it also depends on if there's any smoke or anything in between. I actually didn't know that. Maybe it does. Be interesting to find that out and confirm that for sure. 10 points and counting down. AT gun being taken out. This other one close to being taken out as well here. But facing the rear armor, side armor of the KV-8 to the pack. Oh, look at that. Flames just finishing it off. No worries. Happy days. Happy days indeed. Oh my god. Wow, toasty. That is how you make a toasted Grenadier in Company of Heroes 2. Just get a KV-8 out. And that, my friends, is near enough to show. Hardly anything left for the men over here. The Axes. Wow, sad times. I think we might as well just speed it on up. I don't think there's going to be anything else. There's going to be no comeback at this point. It's just going to be the VPs ticking down. The last few seconds. Come on! Cap those VPs. We know exactly what's going to be happening here. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll slow it down. We can watch the last few moments. But, in conclusion, I think you could just say that the USSR was more skilled than the Axis, simple as. The Wehrmacht were taking a lot more casualties. They weren't pushing down south. They were missing vehicles. Vehicles would have been very, very important. And generally speaking, that's what I can say it down to. They needed something to actually counter these T-34s and KV-8s. And fair enough, they had the packs and such, but when your opponent has, you know, mortars and stuff, that just ruins your life. And the nice thing about packs is, yeah, they're strong, but the disadvantage is that they're hard to move around the field. So we had, you know, front lines of the USSR set down south. They were harassing constantly, and that was just the undoing of the Wehrmacht. So anyway, well done to the USSR for winning that Artistics 18. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Keep on sending in your replays to my email, KrebsCOHO@hotmail.co.uk, and I'll keep on doing more replays like this. So until the next episode, this is Krebs, and I will catch you all later.
Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.